This is the North Shore Community Association's podcast, April 16th, 2021. Hello, this is Max Cote, the NSCA Development Agent. This is the second episode of the third season of the NSCA podcast. Today we will have a super career interview with Katherine Girardin, a forestry engineer from Entails. After the interview, we'll present the community events and activities. This is another interview of our community member on the NSCA podcast. The objective of these interviews is to showcase community involvement, services to the English-speaking community, and their professions or careers. Katherine Girardin is a resident of Entails and is a forestry engineer. Hello, Katherine. Nice of you to come and talk to us today.
Hi. It's nice to be here.
First, can you state your full name, where you're from, where you live, and your career or job title?
Hi, my name is Katherine Girardin. I live here in Entails, and I grew up here, so I was born here. My job is the chef unité de gestion for the Ministry of Forest here in Entails, and I'm also a forest engineer.
I'd like to hear how you chose this career, where you went to school to become a forestry engineer, starting from your high school, college, university, and any other post-secondary studies you may have gone through.
How I chose this career is a bit of like I'd say, just like that. I thought I like to be in the forest. I like to be in nature. So that's the reason why I chose this career. I didn't really check it out very much beforehand, but I'm still happy with the choice. And yeah. So I went to school here in high school in Gentinois in the French school. And then in science, here in the Cégep of Entails. And after that, I went to Laval University, which is the only university here in Quebec that gives this program. But there's also another university that gives it pretty close, which is in New Brunswick, a very good university too for this program. After that, I studied a little bit of management and other things, but mostly I finished pretty much with my university forest engineering.
Can you explain what the career of forestry engineering entails?
The career in forest engineering can be very the field is very vast, so you can do many things. You can work in an office all day behind a computer, or you can work in the forest all day as well. So that's what's very interesting. You can work for a city, you can work for the ministry, you can work for a private company, and so it's very different. There are many different fields in the forest engineering.
So what type of clientele, you've mentioned a few, but what type of clientele or what are the multiple fields of forestry engineering can work in? What do they do for a city? What do they do for a company?
Well, the forest engineer is there. What they can do is, pretty much is to I'd say manage the forest. We are the only professionals that are. It's a regulated profession. So the person who can work in the forest and it's like a prescription, same thing as for a doctor, for the different things that can be done in forests. So if there's for an example, you have a woodlot, a private woodlot. The forest engineer is the professional that has to be there to prescribe or decide what's the best thing to do for your forest. So I don't know if it answers pretty well your question, but gives an idea.
Can you describe to me what the Cégep or college experience was like for you, and where you had to go? You didn't have to leave home, but what the college experience was for you?
For me, it was a bit of a reality check. I was pretty good in high school, but when I went to Cégep, I think I realized it was a lot more work, I'd say, for like in science. it's pretty. It steps up the level of work you have to do, I say, compared to high school. But I think it's very interesting for people who like science, like me. I really loved it. So then you're really into it. You don't have just a few courses. It's pretty much nearly all of your courses that are in that. So I found it very interesting. And also, well, you meet different people, like come from Port-Cartier or somewhere else, and other people who come here to Sept-Îles to follow different programs. So very interesting.
What was your university experience like?
It was really fun too. Like I was pretty excited to get out on my own. Like I left Sept-Îles and I went to live in Quebec City. I found it like you get your independence, and that's what's very nice about it. But also you have to get used to it, like taking care of yourself. Mom's not there anymore. But it's still fun, and you make many different new friends. And what's interesting is that like when I went to university in Quebec, part of my program I could do elsewhere in another province. So I went to study 1 year in UBC, so in University of British Columbia. And again, it was really nice. Well, I already spoke really good English because I went to school in Fleming school for my primary school. And then, but it was really nice to meet other people, and there were other people also from other countries. That's really nice. So, pretty fun experience, university.
Explain to me what a typical day in Catherine's work routine looks like.
Well, for the moment, like now, I'm more working in management, so it's pretty much being behind my computer, taking care of the people who work for me. But maybe I can talk a little bit more about like a typical day of a forest engineer that works for me. Maybe that would be a good idea. So those people, a lot of the forestry now is done with the computer because we use very interesting technologies like 3D pictures of the forest. We also use different types of satellite imagery and all of that. So there's part of the work that's done behind the computer. And then, like typically in winter, the forest engineers don't go out too much. But in the summer, usually what they do is they plan in the winter what they want to go and see in the summer. And then they go in the field in the summer and go verify, do some measurements and take pictures and validate if the like, for example, there is little trees growing under the big trees that are maybe to be cut, and they can go and see if the trees are, for example, dead or not, if they're still alive, and stuff like that. So it's very interesting because it can be a good combination of indoors and outdoors work, I'd say.
Is bilingual important in your field of work, or is it valued?
I'm not. It's not absolutely necessary, but it can be very interesting to be bilingual. Like I'm usually the reference where I work at to respond to English speaking clients, and also a lot of the literature is in English, because it comes from elsewhere, other provinces or other countries. So it's very interesting to be bilingual. Also, what's interesting is you can work in other provinces, which is like elsewhere. Like English is important, so I think it's a good thing to be bilingual.
What would you have as advice to young listeners that's listening to us right now if they're interested in this field of work?
Well, I think one thing is maybe it's to do like an exploratory session or something. You can ask like forest engineers, like as myself, to maybe have a little bit of time to go see what the job is really like. Because like when I decided to go in forest engineering, I had no idea of what the job was. I knew I liked the forest. I knew I would probably work in the forest, but it's important, I think, to do that. So it gives you a better idea. But it's a really interesting job. So
Thank you so much, Ms. Katherine Girardin, for your participation in this podcast. I'd like to extend my gratitude from all our young listeners for participating in this interview.
Oh, you're welcome. It's very nice. And if you have any more questions, don't worry. You can contact me.
The NSCA sends out a call for bursary applications. Are you from the North Shore region studying in any health or social services field? You may be eligible for financial support, thanks to the McGill Bursary Program. The McGill Bursary Program is intended to provide financial incentive for students from selected Quebec regions with appropriate English and French language skills pursuing full-time studies in the fields of health and social services in a government-recognized educational institution. Category 1 bursary is for students studying in a government-recognized educational institution located outside of their region. Category 2 bursary is for students studying in a government-recognized education institution located inside their region. The deadline for applications is May 7th at 5 p.m. For more information or to receive an application form, please contact Evelyn Audi at e.audy@quebecnorthshore.org or call the Baie-Comeau NSCA offices at 418-296-1545. The NSCA would like to make the population of the North Shore aware of the National Volunteer Week starting April 18th to the 24th. It is very important to support volunteerism in our communities. If you would like to volunteer for a particular event or group of people, the NSCA can help you find volunteering opportunities. Just call us at our offices and we'll show you the value of one and the power of many. The NSCA invites you to the information session on dependencies, facilitated by Dominique Leclerc, Special Care Counselor, and Marie-Ève Normand, Social Worker, from the Clinique Interdisciplinaire Le Marais in Sept-Îles. They will discuss a portrait of the substance abuse in the region and its causal effects, the impacts of substance abuse on psychological, emotional, and social state of the user, the impacts of substance abuse in all spheres of the individual's life, how to talk about this topic with someone who worries you, the resources available for individualized support. Join us via Zoom Tuesday, April 20th at 7 p.m. To register to this session, call Hélène Bélanger at our Baie-Comeau offices at 418-296-1545. The Community Health Education Program, or CHEP for short, will be presenting on Wednesday, April 21st at 10 a.m. via Zoom, a session called The Expanding Role of Your Community Pharmacist. This session presented by Jean-Marc Bélanger, community pharmacist, who will describe the new services available to you and how to access them. Who could save you a trip to the medical clinic? Your pharmacist. Convenient, close to home, and one of the most accessible healthcare professionals in your community. If you have questions or would like to register, call the NSCA at 418-296-1545. On Friday, April 23rd at 10 a.m. in the NSCA's offices in Sept-Îles, come and join us for a fun toddler time. We will talk about planting flowers and herbs and learn how they grow. You will be painting terracotta pots and will go back home with seeds to plant. As we respect the recommendations for public health, we limit the number of children that can attend. You must reserve your child's spot and we'll limit to one person per family that can accompany him. Adults will have to wear a mask during the activity. If you want more information, contact Chantal Gilbert at c.gilbert@quebecnorthshore.org.